Hello and welcome to my cargo bike build project. Now this is my design. I've CAD'd it on computer. It's got a 20-inch front wheel and a 28-inch rear wheel. The reason for that is to get the load as close to the ground as possible in order to increase the stability of the bike. Furthermore, to increase the stability of the bike, hope that works, something like that. Basically, I've increased the I've made this longer basically. Now this is, let's call this steering tube 1, this steering tube 2. Now the reason for that, God I hope this is making sense, but the reason for that is to get the weight away, to place the weight away from the front of the wheel and bring it to the back. This is again increase stability of the bike, because imagine you have all this weight on the front, it's going to make the bike feel very sluggish. Again, I'm not planning to carry anything too long or too wide, right? I guess an example, a heavy example load, fucking hell. A heavy example load would be a suitcase full of canned beans. I thought that was a good example because it's manageable size, but it's going to be very heavy. Something we can all picture, I think. And right, I'm just going to cut straight to the build because you're going to see me in a minute cutting sections out of this down tube here in order to bend it, and then I'll be welding all of those bends to make it strong. And that's it, let's cut straight to it. 357 and a 9mm. Enjoy it. It's the moment of truth, really. Very nice. Is that the radius I want? That is actually perfect. I've got a 138-degree angle on this one here, which I worked out using just a CAD model I did. But yeah. Right, so I am setting up my welder right now. Put it under, so it's hidden from any kind of splatter. Now the welder I'm using is gasless. Hopefully I will be able to produce some nice-ish welds as long as they penetrate the metal nicely. We'll be fine. So here we have the frame. The down tube has been removed, which will be replaced by this chunky fella somewhat around here, hopefully. Yeah, but there'll be more like that. And yeah, that's pretty good actually. Looking good. New day, day 3. Beautiful day as well, which is brilliant. I have just been actually this morning to Selco and bought myself an 18mm sheet of plywood that I cut in half. And so yeah, so I've basically got a 32mm thick piece of wood there. And hopefully, obviously it's not going to be perfectly flat, not as flat as like, I don't know, a welding table or, you know, but it's going to be pretty good. And you can see here how these 3D printed blocks are going to come in clutch for this build, and because they're just making sure that everything is flat. I've also 3D printed, so because I drew this frame on CAD, I was able to make these little sleeves that, well, it's the exact profile of that area, which just slide onto that pipe, so then I can trace it and cut it accurately. I'm a little bit upset that I haven't been very accurate with this cut. Oh no, I have. No, I haven't, because it's too short. Just a little bit too short. It would have been nicer if I had, well, I thought I was leaving enough room, but I wasn't. Well, no, I thought I did, but did it wrong. But nah, that's gonna be all right. I'll work with it, and I usually make it work, I think. And another thing, you know, this is I'm learning a lot with this project. So anything that goes wrong, yeah, it's a bummer, but you know, you live and learn. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna weld on this. Obviously I've got two sides, so I reckon I'll use one side for like doing nice stuff and the other side for welding. Right, this is the full of the build. You can see what from the previous time lapse I was welding this down tube. Now I'm going to call this steering tube 1, this is going to be steering tube 2. So to keep steering tube 2 level with the rest of the bike, what I've designed is these two blocks like this. So you've got these two cone shapes to make sure that that tube is central, if that makes sense. Now the tube on the bottom just prevents these from kind of tipping, and that's it really. I'm probably just going to dive straight into the whole welding process, and there you go. Okay, so my cargo bike frame is nearing completion. So I've just spent today filing the welds up there. I wasn't planning on having to do that because I was hoping my welds would look neater than they did. So unfortunately I've just had to put myself through a whole load of tedious filing, which I didn't film because it just took ages and I just wanted to focus on that. I did one on the bottom there because it looked quite neat. I removed the rim brake caliper mount because I will be welding on a disc brake. But yeah, we're nearing the end of this part 1. Now in part 2 of the build, which will come out next week, I will be setting up the steering, making the forks, putting on the brake mounts, and hopefully kind of giving it a test ride. And then in part 3, I'll just be setting up the bike and finito.